Well, hello everyone. Um, Hope I'm not alone here. So tonight, hey Anson, hey, hope the sound's good. Um, yeah. So today is the belated. Oh, good. Belated celebration of 30th anniversary of Hellboy. As you can see, I penciled up a piece today. Um, uh, More of an aquatic nature because, as I understand it, 30th anniversary is Pearl. So I'm going to say there's going to be a couple of big mollusks with a pile of pearls in them. And Hellboy will have killed some sort of giant sea king of some sort with its fishtail winding its way through the background as they're in a cave. So the lighting is going to be interesting to play with. It's going to be very dark, but the light coming back here will really make Hellboy and his trident pop out quite nicely. And I figure he's swimming, so he's not wearing the rest of his gear. He's just wearing like those black bike shorts he always wears underneath everything. So I think this will be good. But since people really like it when I show books, I'm showing books to start things off. And actually, this is one my son was going through his mom's basement trying to clear things out, and he stumbled across a box of role-playing and other gaming stuff that I thought was long gone. And when one of the books that came out, I was absolutely convinced that Anson would like this. The box this came in is long gone, but somehow I still have the rule book for the Chaosium edition of Stormbringer, the role-playing game. This was published in '81, if I remember correctly. '81. There we go. Frank Brunner did interior illustrations, some really lovely ones. I think he did a portfolio, and they licensed a portfolio to use for interior art for this book. There's not a lot of non-full page Brunner work. There's like a whole bunch of like little weird little clip outs of the chapter heading illustration. This is one for the cover. And they'll just clip it again and again. So I think they probably used their whole budget licensing this Brunner stuff. And I think Brunner is probably most famous for his run on Doc Strange. There might be other stuff he did, but I'm not aware of it. I think he's long since retired or passed on. There's Summing Arioch. Yeah, I used to be serious RPGer. In fact, for the last couple of years, I was part of Jim Zub and Dave McCaig's D&D and a board game group. Things have been so busy the last couple of months that we haven't played. Oh, there he is with Grome. I think it says right here at the bottom, King Grome. And when he's sailing, and I think it's from the Sailor in the Seas of Fate. This one's kind of fun. I think this was the cover of the portfolio because I had room for portfolio trade dress. So here is Elric with one of the last of the dragons. A whole bunch of monster stuff. And of course, it's no new art for this. I think they did a later edition of this, and it had illustrations they didn't reuse Frank Brunner stuff. But yeah, so this is kind of cool. The other thing that came out of the box, according to DC Heroes role-playing game, other stuff like that, was one of my favorite issues of the Comics Journal. I thought was long gone, with the Bill Watterson interview nearing the end of his run on Calvin. I'm a huge Calvin fan, so this is good. I'm going to reread that. This is the old stuff. The new stuff I got this week. This just arrived today. I've heard a few things about this. I'm really interested in about considering the world we're living in terms of like how everything is at the whim of some tech billionaire who's more than happy to screw over everyone, including the artists who help build the apps that they're operating. So I've heard a few good things about it. It's not graphic novels, of course, but it's like as an artist living today, I figured this is a good read. Probably try and read it within the next 2 weeks. And if guys are interested about asked it for a review or something, ask me about it in a couple of sessions. Toss this over there. This came in. Had to special order this. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work. I saw this guy's work for the first time when Mike Mignola was sharing it on Facebook about a month ago. Man Arenas or Irenas. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. They had one listed on Amazon, but it just wasn't. It was like not available. The art in here is absolutely stunning. Beautiful watercolors under a traditional like pencil or pen and ink style. I mean, this looks like colored ink, like a sepia ink, but also looks a bit like pencil. So it could be digital too. But I just love how it feels traditional. Some beautiful, beautiful character design work in it. Like I don't know if you can see it was at the that. I just love how a lot of European graphic albums will actually do like an image like this. I think this comes from the influence of manga. So when I'm actually doing my witch and Viking horror comics, I'm hoping to actually like carve myself out the space from the story to just do some just pure visual pages that will capture a moment. So this is good. So this is, I believe, a Spanish translation of it. I don't know if he's originally Spanish. Almost everything comes in Belgian and French. God, look at that. Look at that. The water's off the rocks there. Beautiful. Probably a little too glossy for this. That's gorgeous too. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Now, this one, I don't know if I can show any of this to you guys. I'm a huge fan of Kim Jong-gi, and one of his books is called Omphalos, and it's mostly his not safe for work art. So I'm probably gonna have to peek at every page before I actually show anything. Oh, yeah, not that page. No, not that page. That'll probably get away with something. Here we go. I mean, just his level of drawing, like red pencil and maybe yellow pencil, like colored pencils doing the tones. His pen and ink work is always amazing. I don't see anything naughty in there or too naughty in there. Beautiful horse drawings. Look, it's just these pen and ink, and probably like everything else drawn from his imagination. And just so good. And first time I saw his video of him drawing live, I was amazed at like just what he was able to accomplish. I'm going to see if I can find. There's something I noticed going through this one. It may have been there for me to see before, but I didn't notice it. It really looked. Oh, I can't show that one. Trying to see if I can find the color. It looks like, you know, the way I like using rubber stamps. It looks like he's drawing on a textured paper with color. Like here's another one. I'm just covering up the not so naughty, but better safe than sorry with YouTube. I posted it on Facebook where it looks like there is like a really super fine dot screen in addition to the black line work, and then color on top of that. And I'm wondering if he's using like a stipple paper. I ordered some just to play with it. I might, if I like with it, I might do some work here on stream with it. But there's just some beautiful texture happening in combination with the usual brush work. I assume it's a brush pen like he's always drawing with. And then the way the color with the little bits of black on top of it, it's just, I wonder if I can get that close enough for that to be. Hopefully that's it. Maybe you can see those black dots on top of the color. Anyway, this was to get a Kim Jong. It's got nice. It's actually got this weird kind of skin color, skin texture for the leather, and a little super realistic belly button, and that's its cover. So like the center of the world, because Omphalos I think translates in the center of the world. So I believe there's one distributor in Europe, one distributor in the US, one distributor in Canada for the Kim Jong-gi books. Um, so if you're in Canada, it's the Labyrinth bookstore. This came back in stock, so I grabbed it immediately. Last couple of times it was in stock, it's like, can I afford that? $160. So, basically freelance, wanting to be safe. I couldn't resist. I had to get it. I think there's only one or two other books of the sketchbooks I don't have yet. I got to double check my collection because, they're just massive, big books full of beautiful, beautiful drawing. Beautiful. Oh, I see a lot of comments. Let me get to the comments here. Yeah, fill the page. I know. He just draws everything so damn well. Everything so damn well. All right. Anyone have any questions or things they want me to go on about before I dig into Ink and Hellboy here? Oh, excuse me. Oh, before I forget. So all of those endless pieces I'm working on for the last 4 weeks, they all went up on my shop this week. Delirium and Death went almost immediately. So there's 3 pieces left if you're interested. Dream, Destiny, and Desire. Apart from Dream, I'm actually a little worried about the popularity of Destiny and Desire to actually find a home eventually. But regardless, that's pretty much almost like about $1,000 Canadian going to my local food banks. I'm gonna do a partial food bank donation on Tuesday, and then more. Well, I know if any of the other pieces are going to sell. Otherwise, then I'll just figure out like what all the expenses are, and then send money away, help people eat. But yeah, so if I believe there's a link on my YouTube page to my link tree, and on my link tree there's a link to my art shop. So that's the way to find it. Do I want to start with a 1 or a 005? That's a 3. That's a 3. Oh, and more work progresses on the Coven book. I was hoping it would be out now, but my production guy was swamped for the last few weeks, so we've been progressing very slowly on his end. But he had a brilliant idea to add like a little grace note of a cat to the book on, I think, in the half title or title page. So I drew a tiny little black cat, got a little bit more playful. Excuse me, a little more playful on the screen tone bits, just letting it burst out a bit. And I like the effects. I might actually incorporate more of that in some other pieces, and maybe even some comic stuff. Anything else I'm forgetting? I think everyone saw my witch selfie floating around here somewhere in my studio. However, it doesn't seem readily at hand, so I'm not going to wave in front of the camera. Well, that's it for the show and tell portion. Let me get some glasses on. Get to town. All right. So it's always weird when you're not drawing Hellboy in the standard shape aspect. He's so blocky, especially early Mignola Hellboy stuff. He made him so like almost like as massive as he makes Darkseid when he was drawing all that DC stuff. So Hellboy had this incredible amount of thickness to him, and as he went along, his Hellboy got thinner. But also, if you remove that trench coat, Hellboy would immediately look a lot smaller. So all of a sudden, I realized I'm drawing like a really odd angle on Hellboy after he's defeated this Sea King. So we're looking up at his legs, which usually seem really, really short and scrawny. So they're closer to us perspective-wise, so they're going to look a little bit bigger, and he's going to look a little less thick just because of the angle. So hopefully, it'll still pay off. I got a whole bunch of reference saved on my computer for what like undersea rocks and everything. So this is going to be kind of remnant throne, all overgrown with coral and all sorts of other stuff. I'm going to have a couple of big mollusks, giant oysters or clams or whatever, and a bunch of pearls just falling around everywhere. So that's the whole of the idea of that whole 30th anniversary Hellboy thing. And this is on Eon board, which is stupid thick, with regular Strathmore paper. Aqua Hellboy. With regular art paper, when I'm using like Strathmore 400 or 500, that can feed through my printer for doing the blue lines really easily. But the Eon stuff is so thick. I mean, like really thick. I kind of have to push it to get it to feed through. So it's just that level of insane quality that I one of the things I like about Eon boards. I was a little worried about drawing this small a Hellboy for an anniversary Hellboy piece because it seemed like the bigger Hellboys are more popular. But I thought an environment, a nice big monster environment, strange environment would work for that. This one will probably go up in my shop, I don't know, in a month or two. I'm going to give the Endless some time to sell for a bit. This one might be, just go straight to paying my bills. I have those too. I can't do everything for the food banks as much as I would like to. If we lived in a world where I could just do everything I wanted and give it to charity, we live in a world where there'd be so much more money for everyone that we wouldn't be relying on charity as much, I think. Hopefully that makes sense. What I am planning to do is for Kirby's birthday, I'm probably going to do a Kirby tribute piece, and then that'll go to the Hero Initiative. I could do little winged feet on Hellboy here, little wings on his feet, just like Namor. Can you guys see that well enough? I guess is that looking very cool. Sorry, it might be a little small. Mutton chops, baby. I'm looking forward to the new Hellboy movie because that last one, as much as I like David Harbour, and I've liked work by the director before. Just the fact that the director didn't promote the movie tells you that something went very, very, very wrong in production. That Hellboy was awful. Even the special effects were terrible. I mean, the casting was great. I mean, David Harbour Hellboy, yeah, I could see him doing it. Ian McShane as Broom, absolutely. All the way through, it was just like what I thought was like really, really smart casting. And then the script was tone deaf. You had David Harbour. I mean, he's in a red suit. He shouldn't have to overact, but overacting like crazy. And even though they made a big deal about him getting in shape, the way the suit wrapped around his body just made him look really fat. And Hellboy's thick, but he's not that thick. So hearing, I'm just honestly through the grapevines, I'm hearing really good things. Not from Mike. I haven't talked to him about it, um, but from other people who are working on it. They're actually quite happy with it. Now these are just like production development guys, and they haven't seen anything for a while because I think they were just doing production stuff. I'm always a little weirded out when I draw the glove in an odd angle. I'm really tempted. One of these days, I might just sculpt that hand and gauntlet, um, so I can like just rotate it in perspective and get a better sense of how I want to draw him. Can't remember. Does Hellboy have a navel? He has a mother. I can't remember if he has a belly button. Tempted to look it up. I'm just going to give him like skin folds here at the midsection. Also got lots of damage on him. Aquaman and his feet. I'm thinking about it more. I like the big monster I got here. I might actually, after I do a little bit more work on Hellboy, I might actually shift everything so you can see me working on the monster because it's a pretty big monster. There's his hand. His hand's roughly the size of Hellboy's chest. And they're webbed and they're clawed and all sorts of stuff. And I can give him kind of like a sharky face here. That might be fun to really, really get into. I should probably be using a 1 or something for that part. Sea monsters are always cool, man. We don't get enough sea monsters, man. There's a really, I think, I'm disappointed with how few people really, really got into it. There's a horror movie with Kristen Stewart called, I believe it's actually just called Underwater. And it's a Cthulhu movie. And I love it. And I thought she did a great job in it. It's really, it's like almost like an Alien ripoff in the sense that it's like a deep water mining vessel that ends up waking up something it shouldn't. You know the drill. And it turns out to be Cthulhu. The fact that it's Cthulhu is a big freaking surprise. I love that movie. Lots of body counts. Standard, almost a standard Lovecraftian hero's ending. If you know, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's there's all these trenches we can't reach the bottom of. I mean, I hated the first Meg movie, but it came on for streaming, and I just wanted background noise in my studio. I put it on, and Meg 2 just ended up being a lot more fun as it really, really, truly embraced how stupid it was. But one of the things that was stupid about it was somehow there was like this. They found this trapped pocket of megalodons they accidentally released into the world. It was just so brilliantly stupid. I loved it. Sorry, my it's the usual thing. I don't talk enough when I'm especially in the weekends when I'm drawing away here. So my throat just gives it almost immediately. I don't want to make him look like a bodybuilder, but he does, especially like he almost has like this gorilla torso. Um, it makes it kind of like important to indicate that he's got like abs, man. He's not cut, but he somehow managed to have abs. He's gonna have all this damage everywhere because he always has damage everywhere. Thinking about putting more shadows on his face, but I don't want to obfuscate it. It's gonna be black. Triceps coming out here, elbow joint. Some of this might be me drawing and then going back in and rendering over top of surfaces later to get what I want to happen here. So I like a little bit of idea of like almost a little bit of a rim light of reflected light, subtle reflected light here on this side, but almost like a core shadow running down the full length of his chest here. Like that. Yeah, that might be better to obfuscate the whole body. Sorry as I talk out loud as I sort what the hell I'm doing here. I think I'm gonna have to put more shadow on his face too. I'm gonna leave that for later. Just basically creating blacks by way of scribbling way too much. Yeah, I can work out the tonal changes through there, so that's good. And honestly, I don't mind having like more of a dark shadow going across his face here. Because it's going to be so light back here. Should probably actually trace off or rule off the trident here. It's a little thinner at the bottom than it should be in my original pencils. Probably I'll just fix that now. Kind of like wear a groove in here, my pen. There. One of my tricks for drawing a lot of straight lines in Photoshop. So what I'll do is I'll do my initial sketch. I'll scan it in and I'll move things around. Like if I draw the head too big, I drew the Hellboy's head way too big, I'll shrink it down a lot and I'll move it around, redraw things. It's just faster after I do my initial sketch in Photoshop. Sorry, to edit things in Photoshop. But with something like this, what I'll do is a freehand. There's no way those lines are straight. But what I end up doing is I'll switch from the brush tool to the pen tool, and I'll just hold shift and go from dot to dot, and I'll just have these perfectly straight lines. I can actually see where my lines went over the, I'll have to do a little bit of white paint for that. Imply there's like details and stuff on the shaft of this, even though there weren't any of my initial sketches. I think this is, I wanted to look up trident that wasn't, initially I came up with a 5-pronged trident. I'm convinced that's Aquaman's trident, to refer to Arthur Curry earlier. No. So I just quickly Googled trident and I found what looked like a toy trident with the nice 3 prongs. This thing was like right up by there. So I just used that as reference and then just redrew it for this. I don't know, maybe that bar thing is supposed to be right at the front, so you can like kick it in or something. But to my mind, that would be like you'd want your hand somewhere forward so it wouldn't slide all the way down the shaft if you're stabbing something. So I moved it from up here to down here. But it's a toy design, so who knows, what the toy designer was thinking. It looked like a toy anyway. Didn't look like a real. Did not look like a real trident by any stretch of imagination. That be up there? Good. Like how the toy had these like weird kind of like detailed prongs. So I stole that, of course. Oh, I got my windows open up here. First real nice day. Um, for a while, I feel confident in opening my windows and letting outside air in my studio. It's nice. I miss it. Although soon it'll be so hot, it'll be all air conditioners everywhere. But get a little bit of natural air in when I can. Drizzling some black blood over the trident here. Because I figure, sea creatures would be covered, full of black blood. Yeah, he's going to be backlit, so there's going to be a lot of shadow going through his face. So I have to sort that out. I didn't do it to my pencil, so I don't want to ink it until I actually think about it a bit more. One thing you notice, like if you start rendering out the whole body, but the face is all open, it almost looks like it's painted on or he's wearing a mask. So you got to be careful about that when you're doing this stuff. Trying to think about how to best get that shadow. There we go. Yeah, it's working. I thought the 5 blades were just for an extra shave, extra close shave. Although considering Momoa doesn't shave at all for that role, so you go really, really dark, let the trident really pop out. Yeah. Oh, just leaving his head like that makes it look so big there, doesn't it? I never really, I mean, I was aware of it. I think I caught some episodes over the years, but I was never, I mean, I saw the first Stargate in the big screen too. Um, but I got friends who were like crazy, crazy for it. And I was like, yeah, it didn't really do anything for me. So I missed Momoa. I think I saw him more in one of those Baywatch knockoffs. I think that's where I first saw him. Shadow in the front. We got the shadow there. Shadow there. So this becomes like a stupidly dark Hellboy drawing now. But I think it needs it. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So I'm really curious. Was Stargate Atlantis like they just found another gate, but it was underwater, and so they had to deal with a whole bunch of like aquatic aliens? I'm curious, but not dangerously so. That makes sense. Well, this can go a lot darker here, right here. Now, would his headlights catch light off the ceiling? Let's do them like a halftone value. Let's see how they look like when I get further into it. One of the oh, it surfaced. All right, cool. One of the cool things about drawing a character that's red, when there's no inclination to color it. So this will not never be like a colored Hellboy piece. It'd be really weird to do that after laying all this black. Red photographs dark. In fact, if I remember correctly, it's tricky to judge the lighting on red when you're shooting, especially in black and white. So if you remember the old Superman TV show with George Reeves, um, he wore a brown cape when shooting because brown was a more stable color that visually read as red on TV. There's a few lines I gotta clean up here. Yeah, we'll get a little sloppy with some of the inside lines. That's almost a solid black Hellboy. Do you want to do the hand now or do you want to save it for later? Actually, let me get some of the some like almost random shapes to play with here. as he's dealing with, as I'm dealing with the shapes of the chair and everything here. Again, I got some photos saved on my computer to do like coral and not Carl, but coral. Allow me to do some depth and stuff there. Actually do look a little bit of solid black there. There. Just make them lay back a little bit more. So now I can go back in and do that. I might come back in with super fine bits of white to pull some highlights out. If he's just been in a fight with a sea monster, he's going to be wet. So then I can do some like wet highlights on his body if I want, as needed later. Over the years, like I was a huge fan of Mignola before Hellboy came out. So when the first announcement of Hellboy was coming out, I was sold. It was really a case of like, take my money. But the weird thing that freaked me out, it was the first drawing of Hellboy was a cover for Next Men, which is like how they agreed to introduce Hellboy. I think it was like Hellboy showed up in a short story in an issue of Next Men because John Byrne was brought on board to do dialogue because Mike was insecure about it to start with. And one of the very first things is I assumed that Hellboy was wearing big red goggles because the initial ads were so small for the solicitation and everything and the stuff that Dark Horse was showing that it really looked like just this big adventurer type bulky guy. And with goggles, and I thought, okay, that's interesting to look. And then you find out it's the shaved off tips of his horns, not goggles. It was pretty interesting to see all that kind of came together. So I can also play with some shadows here. Patella. I might actually, I'm gonna pull that calf down, so there'll be some white paint fixes there. Shadow coming down through there. I've, over the years, being a Hellboy fan for this long, I've seen people forget to give Hellboy his pointy ears. Hellboy's got pointy ears. I just realized I forgot to include the tail coming. I'm gonna have to pencil that in. But he's also got like cloven hooved feet, which is another thing I've seen a lot of people screw up. I've seen people give his big gauntlet 4 fingers instead of 3. So many weird takes on drawing Hellboy I've seen over the years. Actually got yelled at for pointing out it's one of those things where you kind of go like, how did people say they're fans of the character without actually like noticing like what's going on with the character? But I remember the whole Legend imprint was like such a reaction to Image. You wonder like, I think Simonson brought back Star Slammers. No, he was at Malibu's imprint. So Legend was Mignola, Dave Gibbons, Frank Miller, John Byrne, Jeff Darrow, Arthur Adams. I think it was just those guys. Simonson was he brought Star Slammers over to Malibu's imprint, which is a weird called to me because he was already doing stuff at Dark Horse with Frank. He did that Terminator book at Dark Horse. Yeah, it's almost like they dropped the ball and didn't ask him. Because I'm sure it would have been a better spot for him, because he was at Bravura, is what I think it was called. I think it was called Bravura. I mean, I think it was a race to come up with the most pompous sounding imprint names. Starlin, Simonson, and honestly, I'm blanking on who else they could have gotten for the Bravura line. Maybe they got more writers involved. I don't know. I don't know. I love Cheval Noir. There's so many artists I would not have known about if it wasn't for that series. I mean, they were printing a lot of Mobius, who I already knew about, of course. But Scheiten and Peters, I don't think I'd seen any of their work before Cheval Noir. And I got like a bunch of their books now. All those amazing architecture comics. Who knew that that would be a genre? Okay, so I think I got all the highlights on Hellboy here. I'm working on the feet where no one can see them. I could do the hand, but I'm always really panicky about the hand because I'm always convinced I'm going to get it wrong. Like I was saying earlier, one of the things I think I want to do is just, I know they sold some replicas, but I mean, I got clay. I've been wanting to make a Hellboy bust for a while, maybe a Conan one too. Just to have those there, but let's also get better at sculpting so I can actually sculpt. Like there's some monsters that may be recurring in my Viking horror comic book, and if they're complicated as my initial sketches would indicate, it'd be a smart thing to actually sculpt that head with those horns. Yes, it has horns. Let me draw some. Where are we at? We're at 7. We're almost at 8. Let me draw at least the head and 1 or 2 of the arms of the Sea King. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do the crown yet. I knew I wanted to give him like a trident in his crown, but I don't know how much detail I want to do in his crown here, lying in the water here. It's always fun to go, oh, shoot, I should have drawn the eyes when I penciled this. Here I am just guessing. Hopefully it'll work. If not, that's why there's white paint. So next week for sure, I'm definitely going to do a sketch cover or two for the Star Wars. I think I told you about the client who had all the Star Wars sketch covers. I think I should do at least one of them on stream. Feels like it's a nice thing to do when someone commissions you. Do some of it on stream so they can see it getting drawn. Keith. A little bit more weight in that line I have here on above the teeth. Also, pretty soon going to be. Thank you. I believe I talked about it before. I've been working on developing an artist alley online type event with some partners, and I think we're moving pretty close to announcing that. What that would unfortunately do would mean that on the weekends when those are running, I won't be doing my stream, which is really sad because I really like how my streak's going. I'm almost a full straight year of every single Sunday. I'm almost at 52 Sunday streams. I want to go at least a year. I'm pretty sure April will be most of the remainder of what I need to have a full year of these Sunday night streams. But on the weekend when we do the online con, the first one's just going to be 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. To me and like at least 3 other artists running an artist alley online. So you can commission us, you can buy stuff from our tables, our virtual tables, but it'll be real products. And you can see us doing the work and chatting back and forth and ask us questions and all stuff. And you can pop in and out whenever you want. So looking for an announcement for that pretty soon. I have to, I did some sketches for the logo today. Not happy with any of them. So I'm going to have to spend a chunk of tomorrow working on them. Which is Easter Monday, which is not really a holiday. I think I'm going to go with a heavier pen there. There's my 3. That's 5. That's a 3. Here we go. Let's give some of those trident punctures. Yeah, I like referring to what you Anzin just said there. I like being able to share the whole process of this. That's the biggest benefit of doing all this online stuff. We have different textures and weights to the skin on that hand there. I think it's reading pretty well. Giant monster hand, of course. Well, we would have to fight that thing. So we're going in here, and we have the water coming down through there. Shoulders coming out here. So we got this submerged. There we go. Submerged arm. All right, so I usually go about an hour, but I did go over more books. So let me do this other hand, and then I think I'll call it a night, and I'll post it as soon as I finish it this week. I'll probably try and finish it tomorrow. I mean, there's artists out there who literally they'll do a whole piece start to finish on stream, and I've done that. And when the comic on Artist Alley online comes up, very much all the commissions I do during that will be done online during the convention. Although I'll probably, the ones that come in earlier will probably get done some advanced work before the con starts, just in case it gets busy. I don't want to risk not being able to do some of someone's work online. Thanks so much. It's big, monstrous, freaky, and with a whole bunch of like elements I feel like stealing from Toby to make it more alien and dangerous looking. This one's probably going to look a little bit more normal. It's a more normal angle. Should probably eat some sort of dinner too. Keep doing that. I wake up, I have my to-do list. A lot of it's stuff getting ready for the stream on Sunday. And then it's like, oh, geez, I forgot to do, basic adulting around myself. I got 2 monstrous fish hands. Calzones. All right. Yeah, I think this is about 30% done. What I have to do is somewhat tedious stuff. I have to do the chair and really get that kind of undersea aquatic thing. The giant oysters, mollusks, what have you, with all the pearls going around here. Um, Design the helmet, draw the helmet, get the reflections in the water, get the body going through this cave, some more rocks, the top of the cave here, maybe some stalagmites coming down, and then the open sky behind here, showing that they're actually inside a cave. Probably end up signing it somewhere around here. Looks like a nice spot to sign it. I know I don't think about that stuff going in as much as I should. But there you go. You know what? I might actually put some like barnacles or something on this guy. That might be cool. And I can do some like stuff on his arms and stuff. That would be cool. Yeah. Yeah, barnacles. Barnacles. I have to look up what barnacles look like instead of like just guessing that they're rocky outgrowths on the body. All right. Well, thanks. Thanks everyone for showing up this week. If you follow me on social media, Instagram, which is heavily censored, Blue Sky, which is not censored yet, but I don't really post anything there that I wouldn't post on Instagram. All the uncensored stuff goes on Patreon, which is $1 a month, which means you get to see everything uncensored. You get to see a bunch of stuff I don't post anywhere else. You get to see developmental stuff. You get to see think pieces and announcement of what's coming up. I think I gave like a 12-hour head start to bidding or buying the endless pieces. So there's a whole bunch of very small, subtle perks coming from joining my $1 a month Patreon, Richard Pace. Again, the link's there in my link tree on YouTube. Yeah, so gonna finish this week, so I'll post it on the socials. Patreon backers will see it first, of course. And then next week, probably Star Wars. I'll do an announcement. I may run into something and say, oh, I have to draw this, and then do something else. I haven't drawn Batman for feels like forever, so maybe I'll draw Batman. Who knows? You guys have a wonderful week. I hope to see all of you next week. Fingers crossed I'll have more cool books to share with you, more cool art. And again, if you have any questions or suggestions about what you want me to talk about or share, feel free to leave comments or ask during the live stream next week. Yeah. So to everyone, have a good night, a good week, and I'll see you next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern.